Okay. So if you haven't already, you definitely need to know. So far, we've talked about four main causes: militarism, alliances, imperialism, and nationalism. Your reading doesn't have alliances in there, so make sure you go back and watch the video that I put together on that, because I believe that is one of the main causes that you definitely need to know. And finally, the kind of the spark that sets everything off here is the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand. Probably one of the most, if not the most famous assassination in world history. And so you got to understand where this takes place. This is going to take place in this city down here called Sarajevo. Now, if you notice, this is in the Austria-Hungary Empire, but it is in a territory known as Bosnia that had only recently been taken over by Austria. And a lot of the people that live in this part of Austria-Hungary are actually Slavic-speaking peoples who are more related to Serbia. And Serbia actually would like to see Bosnia get its independence and the people there become part of a larger Slavic nation called Yugoslavia. And so there are actually some terrorists and other groups that are actively trying to get independence for this territory known as Bosnia. And Serbian newspapers are anti-Austria. A lot of people in the Serbian government are anti-Austria, and so you've got this dynamic going on that you need to know about. Well, what happens is, so the Archduke, so he's not the actual king or the actual guy who's sitting on the throne. That is Franz Joseph. But his son, Franz Ferdinand, is the heir to the throne. And he's going to go down to Sarajevo to inspect some troops and do some other kind of just, like things for show that monarchs do. One of the reasons, by the way, if you want some interesting behind the scenes stuff, one of the probably reasons why he goes down there is there's a little drama within the palace, in that Franz Ferdinand actually has married a girl that his dad doesn't like, and that's Sophie. And Sophie is not very popular. In fact, because they don't view her as noble blood, she actually is not allowed to have any official capacity in the kingdom, and they don't allow her at the royal. Well, they might allow her some of the royal balls and things like that, but she's kind of kept on the sideline. But one of the things that she is allowed to do is attend official duties as far as military duties with her husband. So because he's going down here to inspect some troops, she gets to attend with him. And I think it's right around their anniversary. And so this may be just a uh, kind of a thing for them to spend some time together. Anyway, but what they don't know is what's waiting for them are seven conspirators of a group called Young Bosnia, with some ties to another group called the Black Hand operating out of Serbia. And they've been given some explosive devices, some cyanide, and some other things to carry out an assassination. There's definitely some connections between the Serbian government, at least some officials knew of this plot. Some people in the military knew of the plot and probably helped some of these people get into Sarajevo. But there's seven conspirators waiting for the Archduke when he gets there. And there's going to be a parade, and there's a banquet that's going to be held where Ferdinand's going to give a speech, and they actually drive down this road called the Apple Quay to get to the destination of this. I think it was kind of a luncheon type of a thing. Anyway, the first conspirator actually chickens out. There's like seven different guys stationed along the way. They're all supposed to kill him. He chickens out. The second guy throws a grenade, but it's got like a 10-second timer on it. The driver swerves to miss the grenade. It gets under like the car behind him, blows up, uh, wounds a bunch of people. Shrapnel gets in some people, and the car with Franz Ferdinand and Sophie speeds away to the luncheon. Not very happy about it, but they're still alive, and so they're thinking, okay, the threat's pretty much over. So after the luncheon, they're like, hey, let's go back and um, visit some of these guys in the hospital. But let's be careful about taking the main street. So we're just going to take the Apple Quay the whole way back. And so they had changed the actual route, but they forgot to tell the driver. Oh, by the way, the first guy who threw the grenade, he actually runs over to this bridge because it was right along this river, and takes a cyanide capsule and jumps into the river. Well, it had been pretty dry, so the river actually was only about 5 inches deep, and the cyanide pill didn't work, just made him puke. So they eventually capture him. But the other conspirators were basically still in the crowd. They lost their chance kind of when the second guy had thrown the bomb and missed. Well, anyway, so as they're coming back on this main road, they forgot to tell the driver that they're going to stay on the Apple Quay. And so the driver starts turning, and they're like, "Whoa, whoa, wait a second, wait a second! No, 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 we got to go back. Okay, we're going to stay on the main road." Well, they happened to stop right in front of a assassin known as Gavrilo Princip. He had thought his chance was over, had been eating, I think, a lunch at a little diner here. And when the car stops right in front of him, he pulls out his gun and shoots them both. He shoots actually Sophie in the stomach, and then he shoots Franz Ferdinand in the neck. They both die fairly quickly. Supposedly, Franz Ferdinand um, tells his wife, Sophie, don't die, our kids need you. But then she dies, and then he dies shortly afterwards. And so they do capture Gavrilo Princip right away, and they start establishing some of these ties to Serbia. And this is where it starts. Because now Austria is going to be very mad. And they want to end this Serbian threat once and for all. But that's going to set off the system of alliances and the militarism and everything else. So this assassination is the key spark plug to the entire war.